Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So you want to be an AFL footballer. Now in the southern states of Australia, there is no higher profile for a bloke than being an AFL footballer. And if you are considered to be really good, it pays better than most professions or most jobs. But there are certain inherent capabilities that you need, that are required, plus an even greater lot of capabilities that you must acquire along the way. Natural abilities. Can you run fast? Are you quick from a standing start? This is absolutely essential even if you are a rather large person. Yes? A promising start for a career as an AFL footballer. Can you kick the ball accurately 99 times out of 100 without missing? Not quite? Then 20 hours of solid training each week with your team's full-time assistant coach for kicking the football will let you reach that 100 percentile. And if you are able to kick a banana kick, known back in VFL days as a torpedo punt or a torp, if you can do that at a critical part of the game, your reputation will be elevated to semi-legend status. Are you able to repeat the standard phraseology when being interviewed by the football expert panel before the game, by the media, or by the media boundary rider 2 seconds after the final siren? Lines like, "They were a running team. It was the turnovers that let us down. Our kicking was substandard. Must flow with ease." If you can't remember these lines, that you are no use to any AFL football team, because public image is all what football is about these days. Acquired capabilities. Your club, especially Collingwoodville, will insist that you acquire a glamorous girlfriend. Now, this is particularly important for Brownlow Medal night. Brynn Edelson is the standard model, against which all partners and girlfriends are judged. And if your girlfriend's assets not up to scratch, then she must be willing to have the necessary silicon supplement treatment. If it's not part of your normal language, vocabulary, to use the F word 20 times a minute, then you will have to learn to acquire that capability, because otherwise your teammates will not talk to you. And in any case, you wouldn't understand what they were saying in any way. If you are not the kind of person that goes out to nightclubs, getting drunk, getting high on drugs, then you will need to acquire this capability. But even more important, when the police have arrested you for assault, probably on a young woman, you must have learned to give the following excuses with a straight face. "I was at home with my mother," even though the CCTV camera showed otherwise. "It was not my fault, I was kicked in the private parts. She attacked me first." And then, if hauled before a magistrate, you must be ready with the clincher. "I intend to become an SES volunteer, an ambulance medic, and a roving ambassador for the Salvation Army." Now, with these acquired skills, you will get off every single time. Your club appointed life coach consultant and the club PR lady will teach you to look sincere at arranged photo shoots at one of the local football team's under-12 training sessions. You will learn to crouch with a football in one hand, surrounded by a group of kids who must include at least one Aboriginal, one Asian, one Sudanese, and one redhead. That mix is mandatory. And of course, the club medical supervisor will have your immediate and your long-term health interest as his #1 priority. So it will be a case of, don't you worry about that when you are given your daily injections of whatever. The fact that you are growing breast, abs, means nothing. So conclusions. So you want to be an AFL footballer. Do you think you can measure up? Coming from Assumption College, Kilmore will give you a flying start. That's where Billy Brownless and his like come from. Billy Brownless? You know Billy Brownless.
Yes.
Can you cope with full-time training? What about the high altitude training at Aspen, Colorado? Or the newest high altitude training facility at the yak breeding facility high in the Peruvian Andes? But if you can't cope with the requirements for bad language and the regular brushes with the law, and if your girlfriend won't go for the silicone treatment, then it might pay you to think outside of the AFL player box. Give away the AFL player thing and consider instead becoming an AFL umpire. In particular, look at the goal umpire at that job. Your action profile shots will be fantastic. And unlike in virtually every other part of the game, there are female goal umps. So, ring Andrew to meet you tomorrow for an application form.
Frank, so you want to be a AFL footballer? I didn't expect that. Thank you for an entertaining speech. I think you gave us some interesting, engaging content. I kept hearing a lot of chuckles around the audience. I'm also aware that everything you were saying had a lovely dry humour behind it, and I love the way, using the same rhythm, your content built and actually became more outrageous, and yet we could all recognise it as, in a way, the reality. So lovely satirical piece as well. So thank you for all that. I do question your choice of topic, though, in a way, because the assignment was really about something personal, and that may have been personal, maybe something that you feel personally strong about, but you didn't make that relationship. And that may, in fact, just have been something that relates to the sort of secondary feedback I'd like to give you, which is the structure. To me, you have this sort of massive body, point after point after point, exaggeration after exaggeration. But the opening was very short and wasn't, to me, clear enough about what you're going to talk about. And maybe that was an opportunity to actually bring in that personal relationship. I wanted to be an AFL footballer when I was a lad, and tell a bit of a personal story. And maybe then, at the other end of the speech, at the conclusion, you could have linked back to that sort of open. I would have really liked to see a stronger structure, and I think that would have added to our entertainment value that we got out of your speech today. You did ask me to comment on your notes as well. Very, very subtle. I don't actually think you need them, but they were there, but as I said, very, very subtle. So you kept us entertained. You showed us again your lovely dry humour. So thank you for an entertaining speech.